Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a video all about the SAT. So if you've never seen my face before, hello, my name is Tia. I'm 18 years old and I live in Perth in Western Australia, and later this year I am due to start university in the US. I'm going to be studying at Yale. I don't know what I'm going to be studying yet. I'm getting a lot of questions asking what I'm studying. I don't know yet. We're working on that one. But since announcing that I am going to university in the US and that I'm going to a fairly highly ranked university, the most common question I have been asked by far is about the SATs. Can you sit them overseas? How do you sit them overseas? Did I have to sit the SATs? Like, how did I study for the SATs? I've just received so many questions all about the SATs. So this video is about the SATs. So what are the SATs? Can you sit them overseas? How do you sit them overseas? How do you book your SAT? Do you need to do more than one SAT? How do you study for the SATs? What actually happens on the day that you're sitting the SATs? So I'm going to answer all of those questions in this video. And so if you're interested in finding out about this, make sure you stay listening until the end, because we're going to kind of go through it in a logical order and I'm just going to explain all about it. And I really hope this video can help some of you, because this is all information that I found out after I'd sat the SATs and after I'd been through this process. So I didn't do any study at all for my SATs, and after I sat them I realized that I probably should have done some, and after I sat them I found out all of the stuff that I should have done. So I'm going to be sharing it with you in this video so you don't make the same mistakes as I did. And I have, as I have had in all of my videos I'm talking about and explaining about like college and application processes and things, I have my little notebook here with all of the notes that I've written down for this video. There's a bunch of notes, so if I'm looking down, that is what I'm looking at. Okay, so what is the SAT? So, I probably should have looked up what it stands for. It's an acronym. It stands for probably Standardized American Test. I don't know. Anyway, it stands for something. Basically, the SAT is a test that you do in America to get into college. So you can either do the SAT or the ACT, but I did the SAT, so I'm going to focus on that in this video. So from my understanding, in the US, Americans don't actually have like final high school exams like we do in Australia. So like our WACE exams or our VCE or our HSC exams, they don't have that in America. They don't have like any final high school exams. They just do the SAT, which is the test that determines whether or not they're going to college. And the SAT is not done like in their school. It's done externally to their school. So they don't like have the same kind of end of like year 12 exams that we have. I think they do have AP exams, but that's not really to do with high school. That's more to do with like they take those classes in high school and then take the exams, and that can give them extra credit for college. But they don't have the same kind of HSC, atar exams at the end of the year that we do. The SAT is like that for them, but it's not really the same thing, but that's what they do instead of that. And another big difference between the kind of Australian system and the American SAT is that you can take the SAT as many times as you want. So like Americans will study for the SAT for ages, and then they'll take it like in year 10 and then again in year 11 and then again like later in year 11 and then maybe again at the start of year 12. Now I'm equating their school years to our school years. They have like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, but we have like, I'm just equating them to year 9, 10, 11, 12, even though they're not exactly the same. But yeah, so you can start sitting the SATs like super early, and you can sit them as many times as you want, I think. You just try and improve on your score each time, which I didn't realize. So I only ever sat the SATs once, and now I've been talking to people who sat them like 4 or 5 times, and like, yeah, it's a very different system, which is why I'm making this video, to like make you guys aware of the differences and how it works. So what exactly is the SAT? So there's two different things. There's the SAT and then there's the SAT subject tests. So you don't have to sit both. You have to sit the SAT for most colleges, but then for the higher ranked, more prestigious colleges, and like some of the colleges get you also to sit SAT subject tests, which show like a deeper understanding and knowledge and expertise in a certain subject area. So the SAT is a test, and it's just got English and maths. And in a previous video, I likened it to kind of, it's like a NAPLAN style of questioning. So the questions are, most of them are multiple choice, and they're very similar in style to the NAPLAN that we do in Australia, but obviously it's like a much harder version of that. And so yeah, the SAT itself is just English and maths. And it's scored out of 1600, and you get a score out of 800 for maths and a score out of 800 for English, and they're added together to give you a score out of 1600. And then you can also choose to do an essay, like on the day that you're sitting the SAT, you can do an SAT essay like straight after you've sat it. And that's scored out of 24, I believe. And it's just like an essay it's like based on some like passage that you read. You have to kind of like analyze the passage and write an essay about it. So that's scored out of 24, and that's separate to your score for the SAT out of 1600. And the essay is optional, so you don't have to do it. You can choose whether or not to do the essay when you like apply for your testing date. And the subject SAT tests are, like I mentioned, well, like they sound, they're tests that you can take in specific subjects. So you can take one in maths, chemistry, physics, French, geography, history, Spanish. I'm not sure if you can take one in all of them, but there's like a range of different subjects that you can take a test just in that subject, and that is, yeah, to show like a deeper level of knowledge and comprehending and understanding in that subject, and kind of to show that you're really, really good at that subject basically. And that is scored out of 800. And for most of the Ivy League schools, they recommend that you take at least 2 SAT subject tests as well as the SAT. And if you want to know like what kind of scores you need to be looking to get on your SAT and your SAT subject tests, then I would recommend looking online at the colleges you're interested in attending and seeing that they should have like statistics on the kind of score range for the SAT that their students get, that the students that are getting into that college are getting on the SAT. And then I would try and get your score at least in the 50th percentile for that college. So that's like at least halfway, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it obviously just totally depends on the college, how competitive it is, like what sort of scores you're going to be wanting to be getting. So I would just look that up online and see if you can find out some data about that. And yes, you can take the SAT in Australia. You can take the SAT in most places in the world. I know in Australia that there are multiple testing locations in most states and territories. I'm not sure about the Northern Territory, but I know that in Western Australia there was like 4 or 5 different testing locations, and the testing locations are normally at schools. So schools will normally say, okay, we're gonna host an SAT sitting here, and then it's not like to do with the school, but the school hosts it, and students from any school can come and like sit the SAT at that school. So there should be multiple testing locations in your state, and obviously you just want to choose the one that's closest to you. But yes, you can sit the SAT in Australia. You don't have to go to America to sit it. Also, I think it's probably worth noting that I'm not sure how all of this has changed due to coronavirus, but this is just the normal process, and this was the process when I did it. So yeah, I'm not sure, things might have changed, but the basics should still be the same. Okay, so how do you register for the SAT? So you want to go to the College Board website. I'll try and put a link in the description box if I remember, but just Google College Board, and you're just going to go on there and you're going to create an account, which I can't remember how long it took, but some of these things took a very long time to register for and create accounts for. So allow yourself like half an hour to do that. Yeah, you're just going to create an account, fairly straightforward. And then once you've got your account, you'll have like a home page on your account, and there should be a like place where you can click on to register for an SAT or to register for an SAT subject test. The registration process takes about 30 to 40 minutes because you've got to put in all this different information and stuff, random information that they really don't need to know. Like, you just want to register for a test, and they were asking me about like my extracurricular interests and stuff, which was strange because they don't need to know that. I'm just like asking if I can sit an exam. They don't need to know like my life story. But it does take a while to register for them, and then at the end, once you've put in like all of that information in the registration process, at the end it'll come up with like the testing dates. So then you choose the test date that you want to sit it on, and there'll only be like 3 or 4 or maybe 5 testing dates per year. So yeah, probably only 3 or 4 per year, so that's not very many. So this is why you want to kind of like plan quite a bit in advance and make sure you've sat the SAT well ahead of when your college application's due. So yeah, you choose a testing date to sit your test, and then you also choose a testing location. And this is also another reason why you want to book your test early, is because the testing locations can get filled up, and then you won't be able to get a spot at the testing location, and you might not like be able to sit the SAT. So you want to make sure you're booking your test early so that you can get a spot at the testing location, and you're able to sit the SAT. And oh yeah, another important point is that you can't sit the SAT and the SAT subject tests on the same day. So if you want to sit the SAT and then you want to sit the SAT subject tests, you're going to have to book in 2 separate dates to do them on. And there's only 3 or 4 dates that you can sit them on a year. So like, this is why you want to be organized, because there's not that many testing dates, and you kind of need to sit like at least the SAT and then maybe the SAT subject test as well, and then maybe you want to sit the SAT again, and there's not that many testing dates. So you just want to kind of be organized and make sure you're getting onto this process early. And then at the end of the process, you have to pay to sit the SAT. I can't remember how much money it was, but it was like, I think it might have been like around 100 Australian dollars, possibly more, maybe less, I'm not sure, but it was like a reasonable amount of money. The whole US application, the whole like US college application process costs so much money, and yeah, you do have to pay a fair amount to sit the SATs. So just kind of have that in your budget for the month, because it's gonna cost some money, and then you will get a ticket. So you pay and you get an SAT ticket. You have to like upload a photo that goes onto your ticket, and you'll get emailed that ticket, and then you're gonna have to print that out, and when the testing day comes, you have to bring it. And if you don't have your testing like ticket printed out, then they won't accept you. They don't accept it if you have your ticket on your phone. You have to have it printed out, so that's very important. Yeah, so print out your ticket. Okay, how to study for the SAT. So I'm not speaking from personal experience because I didn't study for the SAT, but basically I'm pretty sure, I think the College Board website sent me an email with some links to some websites that have free like SAT sample tests on them, and I know there are websites out there on the internet with like free SAT sample tests that you can like take and do a practice test to get a feel for the style of questioning. So I would recommend doing as many practice tests as you can, because I wish I'd done practice tests for the SAT, because it is a slightly different style of questioning than we have in Australia. Some of them are phrased a little weirdly, and sometimes, especially for the SAT subject tests, for example, I did an SAT subject test in chemistry, and some of, like quite a lot of the information that was in the SAT subject test, although I had done atar chemistry, I did chemistry in year 11 and 12, we just hadn't covered some of the concepts that were in that. So you want to go over all of the content that could come up in the SAT, as well as doing practice tests to get a feel for the style of questioning and to get a feel for how long you have and how many questions there are, because there's like lots of different sections. So yeah, it's good to get a feel for how the test is going to go, so you don't get a shock when you go into the SAT on the test day. So yeah, I basically scour the internet and do all of the free testing stuff that you can, and then, oh, my camera's gonna die. Okay, we're back. My camera just like randomly stops recording after 16 minutes and 30 seconds every time I'm filming. I don't know why. But yeah, so there's heaps of free stuff that you can do, I think, but there are definitely like, there are preparation books and preparation like packages online and stuff that you can pay for if you want, that will help you, like they'll give you practice questions to do, they'll help you learn some of the content. So there are like resources you can use to help you study that you can pay for. So that's completely up to you if that's something you want to do or not. that's up to you. I don't know. I haven't done much research into that, but if you want a bit of extra help, then that is something that's out there for you. And lots of people have asked me when you should start studying for the SATs. I don't know, because I started studying like, this is really bad, but I started studying the night before and I just like flicked through a practice test. I had stuff going on in my life, but yeah, I'm not gonna go into that, but yeah, if I would probably start studying maybe 3 months in advance, anywhere between 2 to 4 months in advance. It depends how quickly you pick up stuff, and it depends like how much time per day you're allocating to studying. Like if you're going to do half an hour per day, maybe start 3 months in advance. If you want to do 15 minutes per day, start like 5 months in advance. If you're going to do 2 hours per day, I don't know, start 2 months in advance. It depends. So I don't know when you should start studying, honestly. I'm not sure. And it also depends how quickly you learn things. So each to their own. Okay, moving on to the test day. Okay, so the test normally starts at around 8 AM, I think. So I would get there early. The night before the test, make sure you pack your bag and you have to have your ticket printed out. Make sure your ticket is printed out. Print out 2 copies and keep them in separate places so that like you definitely have a ticket to show, because otherwise you will not get in. And then everything else you need, they will send you a checklist of things you need, because there's like a certain type of pencils that you need and a certain calculator, and then just bring like water and snacks and whatever else is on that checklist that they give you. Arrive early to the test. I would arrive like half an hour early, just because you could get stuck in a traffic jam. Anything could happen, so you need to have some buffer time. And yeah, once it's like 7:45, I think, they will, like, all of you will be waiting outside the test room, just nervously standing there with your little package of your ticket and your pencils and whatever. And the official people will come out and they will call your names one by one, and you go up to them and show them your testing ticket, and I think they scan it. And you have to turn off your phone and hand it into them for the whole of the test, and you get it back like once you've finished all of the testing. So yeah, make sure your phone is ready to turn off, and you'll have to hand it into them. And then once all of that is done, you go in and you just sit the test. In exam conditions, it's very similar to how you would sit an HSC or a WACE or a VCE exam. Like, it's just sitting an exam in exam conditions. The times should be written up on the board, and the teacher will, or the supervisor will cross them off as like the exam progresses. And it's pretty much just, yeah, it's just the same as sitting any exam. And then after the SAT, so a couple of weeks after you've sat the SAT, you will get emailed your results, and then you'll get sent an email from the college board saying your results are ready, and then you can go on to the website and log into your account and you can see your results. And once you've got your results, it is up to you to send those results to the colleges that you want to see them. So you have to then go onto like somewhere in the website and select which colleges you want to send the results to, and then you have to pay to send the results to each individual college. So that's a really important thing, because in Australia, like, our ATARs will automatically get sent to universities, but with the US system, you have to go on and manually send your SAT score to each college you want to send it to, and you have to pay money to send it to each one you want to send it to as well, which is lovely. We love paying so much money to apply to university and then having to pay more money to attend university. Anyway, yeah, so that's the end of the process, and you can see how good your score is and decide if you want to go through the whole process and sit the SAT again, because that's an option. Most people in America will sit the SAT multiple times to try and get the best score that they can, which kind of makes sense because that's what is getting them into college. That score is a big thing that colleges will look at to determine whether they're going to accept or reject you. So yeah, you can then sit the SAT again if you want. I only sat it once. I sat the SAT once in October, and then I sat 2 SAT subject tests in Maths Level 2 and Chemistry in November last year. So yeah, that's what I did, but in hindsight I would have done it differently, which is why I was sharing this video with you. So that is all of the SAT advice I have for today. I hope you have found this video useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below for heaps more videos. I'm making a lot of videos on the US university application system and the Australian university application system, and when I finally get to Yale, I'm going to be filming a bunch of university vlogs, which I am so excited to film. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to my channel to see all of those, and comment down below any questions that you have, and I'll try and answer them if I can. I'm not an expert in the SAT, but I have been through the process now, so I do have some understanding of how it works. So yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Thanks for getting all the way to the end. Yeah, okay, bye! I don't know why, but my cheeks really hurt.